welcome to Learning from Leaders podcast. This is, like we were saying before, this is our 8th episode. And what we're trying to do is find out why people go and pursue their dreams, open the businesses that they want. And you get a lot of people that talk about wanting to do it, but there's something that stops them along the way. What we've been finding over these last 8 episodes is that if you really want it, nothing's going to get in the way. There's going to be a way around it. There's going to be a way through. You're going to find other ways to get there. It might not end up necessarily being the dream you started off with, but there's going to be something that you find along the way. And no matter what's put in your way, you're going to get there because Absolutely. It's the goal that you had. Right. So starting with you guys today, I mean, we're here in your office now. How many employees do you have in the office?
10
people full-time. And then you're trying to expand. You want more space.
We do.
Where did that start? I mean, it didn't start with 10 people in an office and looking for more space,
it
right?
It started with me, a part-time, 1-day-a-week employee, and then took the leap and hired a full-time person. That was 6 years ago.
Wow. So what was the dream that you started off with? Was it just a side hustle that you were like, this would be cool? Did you need...
No, I was in a bad spot in my life. I had a business that I had to close. I had a big client that went bankrupt and stiffed me for a lot of money. I went through a divorce and really just wanted to create something that I could really be excited about. And the vision that I had 6 years ago was very different than it is today for ATL Sports Social Club. But I was looking to do something I could really get passionate about, and that's what happened.
So you had a business before this?
I did.
And it was, what was that in? What
promotional products and branded apparel.
Oh, wow. So there's a lot of similarities here.
There is.
Things that you have to do, but it's very different.
Very different.
And then with the clients that you had, was it difficult to switch gears into something else, or was it just, I want to do something?
Huge learning curve. I mean, I would not have known how to run a sports league 6 years. I didn't know how to run one 6 years ago.
And what was the first thing you started off with then?
With flag football, softball, and soccer. Is that right?
Yep.
Right off the bat, you started with 4 sports. Mm-hmm. And you were here
I was not here in the beginning.
Okay, yeah, so it was you on your own.
Me on my own. Yeah. We had people sign up for a flag football league first, and I called a buddy and I said, holy shit, do you know how to ref flag football?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's how we got started.
And so what was that original idea then? Where did it come from? You were just...
It actually was my wife's idea. She played with ATL Sports Social Club, and that's how she created her entire social network. And to this day, she's still really good friends with the people she played Ultimate Frisbee with 20 years ago.
Wow.
And I didn't get it, but I was intrigued by the idea and really just dove in and figured out what the space in Atlanta could look like and created ATL Sports Social Club.
And so you just found a field?
Yeah, so we actually spent about $3,000 on field rental for our summer season, and we ended up using almost none of it because we just didn't sell enough leagues. So we did free pickup games for, I don't know, maybe 100 people. Gave everyone a t-shirt when they came to play for free. We had branded tents. It looked like we were pretty legit, and we weren't. So we lost all that field time that we bought in that summer, and then told everyone at those pickup games, here's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring people together to play, and everyone loved the idea. They started spreading the word. So that fall, we had, I think, 160 people playing.
Wow. And so how many did you have that first summer then?
Maybe 30.
So maybe 30 people started off.
Yeah.
And was there a point where you were thinking, is this going to work? Or is this...
Several points.
Okay. Yeah.
The first two years were tough. Bleeding money, but saw the opportunity. And then we had a reservations day where we got a lot of time at Piedmont Park, and all of a sudden that was that spike, and it hasn't slowed down since.
What was it that kept you going when you had them times when it was you only had 30 people, you lost all that money on the field, and then you thought, well, I still know this is going to be something?
I think the belief. I really believed in what we were creating, and I just knew it just might take a little longer than we anticipated. And we tried different marketing strategies, but it was really the belief in knowing that what we were doing was needed here and that the idea was a good one.
Yeah. So the reality of it is, because a lot of people start off and they would say, well, I tried it. I did it this summer, only 30 people did it, so that's it.
It's not a good idea.
It's not a good idea anymore. And then for you to say, okay, this is just the start of something, and realize that them 30 people then could become 160, and then it comes to how many people now?
We'll do 30,000 this year.
30,000 people participate this year?
Yeah.
Wow. And how long is that taken? So what?
It'd be 7 years in October, so about 6.5 years.
Was there a big spike in that, or did you start off, pretty level off and then
We
exploded,
were
or?
almost doubling every season.
Wow.
From spring, summer to fall, winters, obviously a lot smaller,
Mm-hmm.
but we were on a pretty consistent 100 to 200% increase every season.
Wow. And so
That's when you know it's working.
That's yeah. And was there a moment when you saw what you were doing was working, or when did you figure out, okay, this is how we need to?
We talk about
market,
this all the time.
yeah.
Piedmont Park has these steps that go down to all the athletic fields.
Yeah.
I knew it was working when I started to walk down those steps, and you see 300 to 400 people all wearing our shirts, meeting each other for the first time, and creating that environment, that experience. I knew it was something that was going to work.
Yeah. And what do you think was the key? Do you think it was about giving out the shirts and creating something?
I think
giving out the, 'cause I know you
underneath
get
it
a
all,
picture, right? Like, and to go and take to a bar and things like that. Was it the connections of it? It wasn't just about putting a field there with a
no,
ball and a
it was
referee.
really about connecting people.
Yeah.
Atlanta is a transient city. We get a lot of people here for their first jobs. They don't know anybody.
Mm-hmm.
We become their social network.
Yeah.
You get off your phone and get out on a field and play a sport and meet people, whether
Right.
you're dating or employment or just your friend network.
Mhm.
We have countless stories of people that have met, gotten married, having kids.
Yeah.
A lot of that happening. And that's why we exist.
And that's why you exist. Yeah, and
Absolutely.
that's how long did it take you to get to that why, rather than it be like, I want to do something that is going to be positive, to then, okay, we see this is bigger than just putting referees on a field, or bringing some flag football stuff to a field.
I would say it's probably 2 or 3 years in till we
Mhm.
started to really scale, and you could see those relationships develop. I knew that that's what we wanted to do in the beginning, but it wasn't happening. I think we were just too small and
Yeah.
expected it too quickly,
Yeah.
and then it started to happen. And I mean, there's so many people that have met now because of us.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's very similar to what we do at Oxfit.
Absolutely.
Is we bring people in, and it's you have to make them connections. We force that. It's if you don't know the person's name over there, everybody gets 5 burpees, and you think it's like, oh, you see people like, oh, that, I'm just doing it for the burpees, but you see that people want to connect.
Sure.
But because you're at work all day and then you're on your phone, you kind of don't know how to connect to people when you see them. I see people that have been in the gym for 2 years, and they've seen that same person for 2 years, but I still have to say, hey, you got 2 minutes, and it gives you again permission to talk, and then you hear the buzz again, and it's, what you guys are doing now is, I think, is becoming more and more important, right? As people
Absolutely.
are more and more isolated and they're working from home on their phone.
They've got their earbuds on all day.
Yeah. So it's becoming more important to see that. Do you think it's going to keep expanding?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think of things. We talk about esports, and that
Right.
That's
I was
scary,
going to
right?
ask about that. Yeah. Is that
People
something
are
that
in
you
basements
guys
playing
Yeah.
games versus getting out on a field and meeting each other?
Is that something you see yourselves going into, or
We're dabbling in it a little bit.
yeah? And would you think it would be a different way? How would you add the social to it, or do you think it's something?
You want to talk to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more. I am not afraid of where technology is taking us.
Mhm.
Like I embrace
Yeah.
what esports does for the people who engage in it. My brother's one of them. He's a huge esports player, plays in these tournaments, makes a bunch of money, and his best friends live all around the world, right?
Right.
So bringing that and putting the Atlanta stamp on it would be the same thing, just putting all those people in the same space, right?
Yeah.
And then after they're done competing in their video games, giving them an outlet to go engage somewhere else.
Socially.
Yeah.
When DreamHack, the convention, was here back in the fall, it's just so many people walking around with their heads down because they're not used to communicating face to face. So being able to break down those barriers for the people who engage in the virtual space in real life is our ultimate goal, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
So creating that place for you to play esports, but then having some kind of social
Mhm.
aspect to it that you could add that is not necessarily in the gaming, right?
Right. And then maybe you give the screen 100% of your brain power for the 20 minutes, but at least you can look over to the person between games and have a conversation,
Interesting. Yeah. Because I think that's something that, I think the gym industry is probably going to go very similar that way, where, there'll be virtual workouts. You're already seeing virtual
Peloton
classes come in and
yeah.
things like that, where it's, but then it is that, how do you add that social aspect into it that I think is the next thing that we're going to be challenged with. You guys are probably going to be challenged with.
Absolutely.
are less and less people playing sports? I don't know, you know. So is it a case of more people are on esports? So cool. So when did you come on to Atlanta Sports and Social, Marvin?
I started playing one of the first few seasons. I was a player. I joined a flag football team as a complete individual, and then also a volleyball league with some friends from college. Played for 2 or 3 seasons, and then got offered an internship. So I came into the office February 2015. My first week in, they were all headed out for a conference. So I was like manning the office.
Oh, wow.
Answer the phones.
Answer the phones, make sure it doesn't burn down kind of thing. But at the time, I was working full-time at Delta as well. So I was putting in 25 to 30 hours at Atlanta Sports Social Club, and then my 40-hour work week at Delta.
And so you knew you'd found someone who liked to work hard.
I don't know that we knew right away.
Yeah. But I was like and then I found myself like giving up hours at Delta or like turning into like the graveyard shifts. So just so I could put in more quality hours at Atlanta Sports and Social Club. Like I just started seeing the shift. And at the same time, I also started taking care of my body more. I found myself around 2014 just like going to work and then on the couch and just feeling gross. And one day I just got up and signed up for a gym membership and then committed to bodybuilding for 2 years. And then this community just helped me perform better in that space. You know, like I just had more freedom and more control over my time and my body. And eventually Kevin took me out to lunch like 6 months into my internship and was like, hey, you want to join the team full time? And I was like, heck yeah. You know, I packed my bag, went straight to the airport. I was like, this is my 2 weeks.
Did you really? Nice.
Same day.
Yeah. And when was that? How long ago was that now?
That was June 2015.
2015. Okay. So coming up on 4 years.
Yeah.
Now Marvin's in charge of the largest part of the business.
Okay. It's from an intern to the largest part. And how has this helped the vision of Atlanta Sports and Social, you guys working together now then?
It allows me to sort of hand off the sports league business to Marvin. He makes all the decisions, does all the programming. It's his business to run. And we've got someone that does that for social events, someone that does that for corporate events, and someone that does that for sponsorships, and allows me to really work on the vision of the entire business and look for the squirrel that's running around and see what we do next.
And how long did it take you to get to that position where not even just being in that position, but being comfortable in that position? Because I know you started this 7 years ago, was it? 7 years ago, and it was one field, and this is your baby that's become this. You knew every single thing that was happening. And I mean, I'm sure there's been challenges along the way, probably between you two, right?
Sure.
With you letting go and you taking the lead on things and going down and letting him fuck up and letting him take it the wrong way and you coming in. So can you talk about that a little bit?
I think as we were starting to scale, I realized early on that I can't do it all. There's no way this business can become the size that it can be if I'm going to try to micromanage
you would be handcuffing it.
The processes. Yeah. So slowly, it was a very slow process. We had someone in Marvin's job before Marvin, and she just didn't cut it. And Marvin was working for her and could see that he really got the business. And so it was a slow transition. And even now, I mean, I think I trust Marvin, I trust Katie, I trust Corey to run their business. It's an uncomfortable position sometimes to be in, to not really know all the things that are happening. But we meet as a leadership team once a week, and we review big issues. We look at our scorecard. So I know at least weekly how everything is going. And, we saw our office, we're in an open environment. I hear conversations, and I don't pop my head up and immediately address them then. We'll address it in a one-on-one. But I think it's trust and the ability to let go and know that, Marvin has the right decisions in place and can make those and really lead the business the way it needs to be led. Not necessarily the way I would lead it sometimes, but a lot of times it is. And I have to be okay with that.
That's cool. Because, I mean, that's a position I'm in now. Just got to that position. And my wife is running the gym. And I come in, and I don't know if you've heard the term like seagull management, where you just come in and shit on everything and then leave. And it's really hard not, right? It's really hard not to do that, right? And you'd be working your ass off, and then he'll come in and be like, no, change all this. And that's what I was doing. And so it's come in and just watch, and then know the time to be like, have you thought about doing it this way? And sometimes you're wrong, right? We did think of that, but that's not going to work. Okay. But you don't know if you just come in and...
Absolutely.
And so do you still have that? Are you still going through that now? Or is this something that you feel like now you kind of get a
I
grip
think,
on?
and you could probably speak to this. I
Yeah.
think we collaborate
Yeah.
more than I mean, there are some times I do shit on things,
Mhm.
and Marvin and the rest of the leadership team has the ability to come back to me and say, no, that's not who we're trying to be, right?
Okay.
Right.
And I have to be able to, swallow that and say, you're right. But yeah, I think we're moving towards much more collaborative relationships
Cool.
as a business.
Yeah, and this now allows you to go and work on the business, right?
Absolutely.
And be the vision and see the bigger picture.
Yep.
And how you find in that role?
It's, at times I wonder, does that really take up 48 or 50 hours a week? It does, and I really enjoy that part of it.
Yeah.
I like seeing where we are 3 years from now, 10 years from now, versus the day to day. I'm not good at the day to day.
Okay, I was going to ask that. Do you struggle with, because you started this, so you used to working hard, right?
Sure.
It was a lot of hours, I'm sure, to get it to where
Absolutely.
it is. Do you struggle with not doing day-to-day stuff and
No.
not? Okay, yeah, cool.
I do not.
Yeah, because sometimes it's easy to be busy
Yeah.
rather than to say, this is the hardest thing that's going to get us to the point we need to be. What are the challenges now that are like the thing that the top of your list, but sometimes you'll go to number 2 because you can check it off rather than hit that number 1 thing. What would you say that is for Atlanta Sports Social
So
now?
we, for the last, 2 years, have really struggled with the finance side of our business, and that was sort of an area that I was ultimately responsible for, and not something I enjoy.
Right.
I can do it. I don't enjoy it. So we have now transitioned that to an outside company, and we're not there yet. We've been onboarding them for 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
But I see how it's going to change my role and allow me to have probably 2 days back a week
Wow.
away from task-oriented business or work.
And stuff you hate,
Yeah,
which is the key,
it's
right?
brutal.
You get rid of the stuff that you don't
Yep.
enjoy doing.
absolutely.
Yeah. And then them 2 days can be spent on,
Yeah, let's grow this. How else can we grow this
Yeah.
business?
and that's important. So yeah, so just acknowledging what you don't like or what you're not good at.
What you're not good at.
Yeah, because sometimes you want to be like, no, I can do it all, right? And then seeing that, oh, actually, Marvin can do this better than me, and Katie can do this better than me,
Absolutely.
and so
It's an
Yeah.
uncomfortable position to be in sometimes.
yeah,
But you have to trust.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
When did the events start taking over then?
So we, early on, probably 2 years in, realized that what we're creating is a database of very valuable people, right? We have millennials that like to have fun, they like to be active, they have a little bit of money. So sports leagues, is sort of a way to get people in that database. And then when it was really Corey and I and Katie, started saying, well, what else can we do with these people? And like, well, people like to have fun. Let's create an event. So we did an event at our old office for about 45 people, and it was like a backyard. We called it the backyard blowout. It was a bunch of drinking games,
Yeah.
and it was awful. It was raining. We ended up losing our lease because of it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we had permission to have the event, but we pissed off all the neighbors because
Yeah.
we were rolling kegs around, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
But what we saw was
It
that
escalated
people
quick.
came. It escalated quickly. People came out and they enjoyed the activity piece.
Yeah.
So we knew we had something. And today 2019, we'll produce 15 events all over 15 to 2,000 people.
Wow.
We did one last weekend. It was 4,000 people at Grilled Cheese
Yeah.
Fest.
Amazing. Yeah.
So again,
but again, it started with something that kind of went wrong, right?
Absolutely.
You started the leagues on a field, no one came.
Yep.
30 people came. You started that, you lost your lease,
Right.
you could have said, okay, events are not for us. Let's go with the league
Let's do
because they're
something
paying
else,
off.
yeah.
But it's gone from that to 4,000 people were at and then now you've got massive events coming up.
Yeah.
You were just telling me about
Yeah, we've
some of
got
them
2
events.
beer festivals coming
Yeah.
up, one in Atlanta, one in Birmingham, big pub crawl on the Beltline for Cinco de Mayo, and that's all just in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. So that it could have been something where you said, no, this is not for us. It didn't go well.
Yeah.
But
We knew we had
understanding that there's something there and trusting that good instinct to say, no, we just got to do it this way next time, or no, we just got to try this, or not have it at our actual place of business, right? Do it somewhere else, and yeah.
Yep.
So that's amazing. I mean, that's the thing that I think can scare a lot of people off when they have
Sure.
ideas of going and doing a business, and they get knocked back. You're gonna get knocked back, right?
All
How
the
many
time.
times have you tried something? I know, Marvin, you can talk about where you've tried to take the sports leagues. I'm sure there's been so many times that you've been like, this is gonna work,
Yeah.
and then the first time you do it, it doesn't work, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're super lucky that, going back to the events even, that
Yeah.
between Kevin, Corey, and Katie, there's like 3 talented people in that
Mhm.
space, right? The fact that the 3 of them just ended up in the same space, wanting to work together, they hang out outside of work.
Right.
Like, there was no way events wasn't going to work
It
here.
was gonna work.
It was going
Yeah.
to work, you know?
Yeah.
They
One way or
recognizing
another.
that talent and then
Mhm.
embracing it and not being like scared off by a bad 45-person event. You
So
know?
what would you say the key to that, to their success is, and the key to this success is it just the will to not give up? The fact that it doesn't matter what happens on this event, next time we're just going to learn from it. And that mentality that it never fails, it just is, okay, how do
It
we...
becomes a learning
It,
experience.
Yeah.
it always becomes a learning experience.
Respecting that loss, acknowledging that loss, but then doubling down on what you're good at. You know, Corey is really great at marketing them.
Mhm.
Katie is incredible at producing them, and this guy's got a vision that is unmatched in the
Yeah.
city. You know,
So it's not going to fail.
Right.
And
Passion
And you don't acknowledge failure, right? You said, we lost our lease, this happened, that happened. At no point did you say it failed.
Right.
You said, we learned from that one, and then the next one was better.
Absolutely.
So it's just understanding that there's no such thing as that thing failing.
Right.
It's how you adjust from it. And I think that's what you guys have created, is a thing that just kept moving from failure to failure
Yeah.
Mhm.
until
As
now.
long as you learn
it's-
from those,
how many thousand people did you say are going to be in?
30,000 for sports
30,000
leagues.
people for sports leagues. 4,000 people at just a weekend festival.
right?
So, yeah, I mean, it's a special.
We're
special
touching a
thing
lot of
we've created.
lives.
Yeah. So what's next?
What's next? So our goal is 100,000 participants
Wow.
in sports leagues. We set that as a 10-year target.
Okay.
It won't take 10 years to get there.
Marvin's on it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
And then on the event side, we're expanding outside of Atlanta. Atlanta's a very crowded event town,
Mhm.
so we do a couple events in Birmingham, and we'll probably add some southeastern cities to that. And then we want to start doing experiential events for brands. Brands are coming to us
Oh, wow.
and saying, "Hey, you've got a really attractive audience.
Yeah.
Not physically attractive,
Yeah.
but just
Well,
attractive
a
to a brand."
motivated.
Yeah, motivated, active, young.
Active and young audience, yeah.
That brands want to get in front of, and they're
Yeah.
looking at us as the experts as to how do I get my brand in front of your audience. So we're going to start creating.
What do you
events.
think to that side of the business? Are you excited about that?
Oh,
or is that,
that's like the.
Did you
ultimate.
ever see it going there? Yeah.
Didn't. Not
That's
until we started working with Atlanta United when they first came on the scene.
Yeah.
And they came to us and said, "Hey, we want to get in front of your audience." And so we created a pub crawl for them.
Yeah.
That turned into their annual block party that kicks off their season. And then their sponsors and their brands are really excited about the events because they're seeing the audience that we're bringing to the table, and they get to interact with them, face to face.
Yeah.
You can't really do that at a game.
Right.
If you're online for a beer, you're grabbing your beer and you're going back to your seat.
Right.
You got a 4-hour block party. A brand can really interact with people
Yeah.
and talk to them and learn from them, and so I think it's really exciting where we can take that.
That's awesome. Do you have any specific place you really want to take it, or are you just going to...
I want to do some big events.
Okay.
We want to be somehow in the music scene. We want to produce events for 25,000 people.
Wow.
It
Okay.
takes as much work to do that as it is to do an event for 1,000 people. So why not go big?
I like it. Yeah, why not? So in the next 7 years, it's been 7 years to get to this point, where will Atlanta Sport and Social be then, do you think? Where will you be?
I will still be here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll still be...
10 years from now, that might be a different answer.
Your day-to-day might be a little bit different. Do you think
might,
you just
yeah.
be the CEO, or are you that now, would you say?
I am that now.
Yeah.
We are looking to add sort of like, it's called an integrator through the EOS model, more of a president, and that person would have ultimate P&L responsibility for the different business units, and then that really pushes me to a visionary seat.
Yeah.
That'll probably happen in the next year.
Cool.
And then from there, I think it's building each one of the business units, and whatever that next squirrel running around is, we'll attack it.
How about you, Marvin? Where do you see the sports side, or you personally too?
Yeah, it's leveraging our community to be the most influential group in the city, first and foremost.
I like that, yeah.
And I've got dreams of being in other markets as well, but there's just, Atlanta's so ripe, right? And the
Yeah.
people are so passionate here, and there's so many neighborhoods and communities that don't necessarily have access to what we offer right now, and I want to break down those barriers,
Nice.
and make sure that we are touching everybody that we can.
Yeah.
And then eventually having markets talk. So if people aren't staying in Atlanta forever, then I want to be their segue into their next market. That's the ultimate goal.
Yeah,
growing that
because like you
connection.
said before, it's such a transient city, right?
Absolutely.
You don't meet many people from Atlanta.
Yeah.
So what you're doing in connecting people is so important. But then it is easy to stay in the neighborhoods that are already easy to get into, right?
Mhm.
If you can break down them barriers and go to neighborhoods that are not necessarily touching, what kind of impact can Atlanta Sport and Social have in them kind of neighborhoods
Absolutely.
would be incredible to see too.
Getting those neighborhoods to talk, like there's no reason for you to live in Midtown and not play in the West End.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, for sure. And even, I mean, I was going to say like having neighborhoods playing against each other or
Yeah,
things like that,
sure.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That would be really cool. So people have pride in their neighborhoods. And
Right.
So awesome. Well, thank you. I'm excited. I can't wait to come back.
Well, we
and see
thank
where
you
are.
for playing
Even
with
in
us.
a year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We've been with you guys from the start. When
Absolutely.
we first opened, we were like, this is an opportunity for our members to get out of the gym.
Sure.
It's not just about why do all this training and not, express it and connect. And like we've had times when we played against a team and then they've come to dinner with us and things like that. So it's been
awesome.
really cool to.
So you're proof that we're making
Oh, yeah.
connections.
We love it. So
That's awesome.
we go there we want to play sport. We're super competitive, but it's more about meeting the people and
Absolutely.
and connecting with other teams and things like that. So thank you for what you guys do and yeah, I can't
Thank
wait to
you for
come
having
back.
us.
Oh yeah, thank you for joining us.